This is question number 25 on the foundation calculator paper. The question starts off by saying n is an integer. Now an integer is a whole number. So that word there means whole number. Okay, so a whole number like 1, 2, 3, 5. 0 counts as a whole number as an integer. The question says list, so they've given you this inequality here, right? That basically says n is less than 4 and minus 1 is less than or equal to n. The question says list the possible values of n. Now the way to do this is to draw a number line. Now I'm going to sort of do this properly. You could do this freehand in the exam, but I'm going to do this properly, and I'm going to mark in the numbers from minus 1 all the way up to 4. So minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and finally 4. And I'm going to mark in, so it goes from 1 all the way to 4. Now the reason why I've put circles there is it is essential that you do this, because this is less than 4. That means it can't be equal to 4. So I'm not going to color in the inside of this circle, and 4 is not going to be one of my answers. And it goes all the way to minus 1, which I put here, but it's minus 1 is less than or equal to n. So that means I could include minus 1 in my answer. So all the numbers between minus 1 and 4, not including 4 and including minus 1, are going to be minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So those are my answers, and I need to list all of them in order to get full marks in this question. So in the answer space I'm going to write minus 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And that's going to get me the full marks in this. Part B is almost the reverse process. In Part B, they've shown you a diagram like the one I've drawn up here, right? And the question says, write down the inequality shown in the diagram. And it's really important that you notice that they put the letter X over there. So that means that we're not using n like they did in Part A, we're using X. So I'm going to put X, and I'm going to think about the numbers on either side. So at one end I have 3, and at the other end I have minus 4. So I'm going to put 3 and minus 4 on either side of X. I'm going to put the same signs in, the sort of less signs in there. So minus 4 is less than X, and X is less than 3. But unlike this one here, that circle there is solid, so that means X could also be equal to 3. And that circle there is empty, so I don't need to put an equal to sign there. And I'm just going to write that into my answer space. Okay, I think that is just a bit too vague. I think I risk getting that wrong, so I'm going to draw a line through that and write it in clearer. So I'm going to put X less than or equal to 3, and that's less than minus 4. I don't want to take any chances that the examiner might see a double line there, so I just wrote it in a lot more clearer. Going on to Part C. So if I move this up a bit so we could see the whole of Part C. Part C says solve, and here you have an equation, but this is actually not an equation, it's an inequality. But we're going to treat it just like we would an equation. And what you really need to do is to ignore that symbol there, that greater than sign. So I'm just going to rewrite it. 3y minus 2 is greater than 5. I'm going to pretend that that greater than sign is just like an equal sign, and I'm just going to write it in each stage of my calculation. I'm going to forget about it, ignore it, just leave it there. So if, as like a normal equation, what I'd do is I'll get rid of the minus 2 and then get rid of the 3. So I'm going to do those two stages. To get rid of the minus 2, I need to do the opposite of that, which is add 2. 5 add 2 is 7. So I'm going to get 3y is equal to 7. And then remember that 3 is times in the y. So the opposite of times in by 3 is to divide by 3. So I'm going to get y is equal to 7 over 3. And that's my answer. Sorry, not y is equal to, y is greater than 7 over 3. And that's what I'm going to write in my answer space. Y is greater than 7 over 3. And it's totally acceptable to leave this as a fraction. You'll still get full marks in it. But the more important thing to be aware of is don't get scared by this symbol. Right? It's nothing special. Right? Just follow it through each part of the question. Just leave it there and you're going to get full marks.